Topics covered on Ask HR Dar are in no way a substitute for legal advice. If you are experiencing issues, please consult with your HR department or a labor attorney.
Welcome to Ask HR Dar, Strategies for Business and Personal Success, where we explore the human side of business, leadership, and personal success. I'm Darlene, an HR, business, and leadership consultant with over 25 years of experience helping organizations and individuals replace challenges with solutions. My goal? To share practical insights that make a real difference now and in the future. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and visit my website, dkstewartconsulting.com. Let's dive into today's topic. Job hunting in the age of AI, submitting your application and landing the interview. If you've ever hit submit on an online job application and never heard back, you're not alone. Today we're going to talk about how online recruiting has changed, what AI screening tools are really doing behind the scenes, and why your cover letter is still your secret weapon. So why does this matter now? With quick apply and autofill resumes, it's never been easier to apply. And while it seems really convenient, it's also never been easier to get filtered out. Today, we're breaking down exactly how the new online recruitment environment works and what you can do to make sure your application is not only seen, but strong enough to land you an interview.
Well, I'm certainly glad you're bringing up this topic because it's so timely with everybody using functions like ChatGPT and applying online. I mean, I've seen it. You can just hit a button, submit, and you
think you're done.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, because it's so easy, so many more people are doing it. So your competition is that much more fierce.
Right. And recruiters are absolutely overwhelmed. So anybody who's a recruiter in HR or even a hiring manager, the problem that we're seeing is that people aren't discerning when they are hitting apply now. And they're just kind of spamming the recruitment world and just hoping that someone gives them a call back. So let's do a reality check. Many companies today use AI-driven tools to help vet and select candidates for interview and for hire. So their use of AI can be super sophisticated. They can include screening or resume scanning tech that can screen on a really laser-focused parameters that, legislation's coming in, I think by January 2026, under Work for Workers 4 Act, we're going to have to disclose how much we're using AI in the recruiting process. Companies are going to have to say, we're using it to screen for the following things, just so that people don't get kicked out. For example, here's how it could be used nefariously. Let's say someone said, I really like to hire men. I only really want to hire men. So what they'll do is they can put a screening in that says any name that doesn't appear in the resume, that doesn't seem to be a specific gender, we're going to filter that out. That would be the worst use of AI.
So this is something they would have to reveal?
They would have to reveal. Yeah, they reveal how they screen. I'm just using an extreme example of how someone could say, we are only searching for, or names of a certain gender so that the resumes get screened out. So if you have a name like Darlene or a name that could be
well, if you have one of those ones that could go either way, you might get through.
You might get through. Or I say use an initial instead of use D. Stewart, and then no one really knows either way. You shouldn't have to do that, though, because obviously that could be discriminatory. So anyway, back to the reality check. An applicant tracking system can simply help the recruiter write the job posting, upload the job posting to job boards. It automates interview scheduling, and it can even do the pre-screening questions that are designed to really eliminate unqualified applicants from the candidate pool. And the things it looks at, like it can sort and score and filter out candidates based on keyword matches or formatting of the resume, or even what's missing in an application. And they're designed to screen resumes before a human ever sees them. So you want to make sure you get through that filter, right? Beat the bot. And I respect why they're doing it. It's so that the recruiter's efforts can be focused on qualified candidates only. The more sophisticated the recruiting technology, the more you as a candidate needs to put the human touch and the personal care back into your application. If your resume isn't speaking the same language as the job posting, you're probably getting screened out. So it's tempting to hit the submit resume or apply now, those quick links that are on the job boards. But consider that these postings, they're getting hundreds of applicants within the first few hours because everybody's like, oh, a new job posting, I got to get my resume in. And And the candidate's not slowing down to take time. No sense being at the top of a pile if it's just going to be eliminated. So
the same rule that's always applied. Take your time.
Yeah,
Put in the effort.
Yes, yeah. And, you're sabotaging your own success if you don't take that time to customize your application. So you might feel productive clicking apply 20 times in a day and think, oh, I've done my job search for today. But the truth is the systems may never even recognize your effort if that application isn't targeted. So every application, every resume you submit should have a custom cover letter if you're serious about being considered for the job. So a well-written cover letter that addresses your skills and experience. And here's the key. Map your skills and experiences to the job posting, right? You build that bridge for the hiring managers and for the recruiters so that they can clearly see that you're a fit. And that's 100% key to getting you past the AI gate and into the interview schedules. Yes, recruiters read cover letters. We absolutely do. That's the shortcut to deciding whether or not, that's the trailer to the movie, right?
Well, that is your chance to really shine in a more personal way rather than just the list of facts and figures from what you've done. You can actually show a little bit of personality and hopefully enthusiasm for what you're applying for.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that you might have even read the job application, right? Or the job posting to say why you even want the interview. So if it's well written, it helps the recruiter quickly determine whether your resume is going into what I call the regrets pile or the call for an interview pile. It's your job as the candidate to connect your experience to the job posting. You do the work. You do the work for the recruiter to demonstrate how you are a fit, and that in itself will stand out. It would stand out for me. It does stand out for me, and it makes me want to consider you for the job. So when we look at how do I beat the bots? How do I beat those bots and connect with a real person? And let's talk about the strategies, how to make your application, how to make sure your application gets through to human review. Keep in mind that both AI screening tools and recruiters are going to be looking for the same thing, keyword match. Does any of your experience match what it is that we're looking for? Clarity and relevance, like how clear are you making your resume and your cover letter, or is it a creative writing exercise where someone has to really dig through a lot of flowery language to figure out, is this person real? And effort and intentionality on your part. So let's look at the 5 tips for, doing a really solid application that will get you to an interview. Tip 1, use keywords, but make them natural. So pull the keywords and phrases directly from the job posting, weave them into your resume and your cover letter, as long as they're true, right? Don't look at the job posting and say, yeah, I think I've done that, or I've done something close to that. No. Yeah. This is not the creative writing exercise. Be truthful, and especially make sure that you're using the same language that they're posting for when it's for hard skills or certifications or certain job titles. If the job requires something like project management or vendor negotiation, those exact phrases should appear in your materials if you have indeed done those things, right? You don't have to go overboard. Just address what the position is asking for and how your skills and experiences fit. As we say, AI can spot when you're word stuffing, and so can a human. And I think you've had experience with that too, where you read a resume and you went, I don't even know if this is a real person.
True enough. And it's one of those things where I guess you have to have just the right amount of those phrases.
Yeah. Professional writing. Definitely you want to have professional writing, and you don't want to sound like an AI bot yourself. But
and that's why people will turn to AI to write their resume on cover letter. And that's where you really have to start balancing that.
Absolutely. And that's under tip 5. So thank you for that. So we're just on tip 2. Customize your cover letter every single time. And this is the part most people skip right now in our world of haste and quick apply and all that sort of thing. They just think that, well, if someone's looking on LinkedIn and they're looking, if they're doing their recruiting on LinkedIn, then it's okay that I don't do a cover letter because the recruiter knows. Take the time. So don't use a generic cover letter because saying the same thing for every job, a bot can pick up on that in this AI world. So you're going to write one strong paragraph, if nothing else. Write one strong paragraph where you show that you've read the job posting and you understand what the company's looking for, and make it easy for the hiring manager to see how you're a match. Because a recruiter can tell when you've done your homework and whether you're seriously interested in the position. So here's an example. Your posting, so this is where someone could write, your posting says you're looking for someone who can streamline ops. across departments or operations across a department. In my last role at XYZ company, I led a cross-functional team, and you might want to say how many people were involved in that team to show scope of responsibility. I led a cross-functional team that reduced processing time by 30%.
Is that good wording to say your posting says such and such?
Or the thing is to make it real. So you could say in your job posting or in your advertisement, in your posting for your advertisement. So I'm going to offer up language, and thanks for mentioning that, because there will be tools that are available through my website on, the checklist for your cover letter to make sure that what it includes and a sample template. And so I'm just throwing out language that you commonly see, but absolutely make sure it's in your voice. And if you want a more professional tone, then you can certainly say, as I was reviewing the job application the job posting or the job advertisement on LinkedIn, posted May 6th, whatever, you can use whatever language you want, just as long as it's succinct and it tells your story the best way possible. So you're building the bridge. Right? That's how you make it easier for the recruiter to say, not only has this person read the job posting, they seem to understand what's required, and now I feel comfortable moving ahead with an interview. Tip 3 is format for scanners, format for these AI tools. That means using standard fonts like Arial or Times or Calibri. Clear headings. Don't get fancy in the headings, right? The clear headings, use standard headings, experience, education, skills. And because that's what it's going to be looking for. So
it's still good to keep all that simple and try not to get flowery.
Yeah, keep it simple. No columns, no fancy graphics, no PDFs unless they're specifically requested as part of the recruitment process. Because AI needs to read your file cleanly, as well as recruiters. So tip 4, you've heard me say this before, do the recruiter's job for them, or at least part of it. Your job isn't just to list what you've done, which is what you said earlier. Your job isn't just to list what you've done. Your job is to match what you've done with what they're asking for. The biggest mistake people make is assuming the recruiter's going to take that time to connect those dots, and they don't have the time. So you have to do that, and that's your power move in moving beyond this pile of candidates or to the interview process. Tip 5 is what you were talking about. How do you use AI to optimize your application? So ChatGPT, Jasper AI are popular tools. And you can use them to help refine your cover letter and your resume, but don't have them write it. Don't have them write it. This is where people are. You still have to be in charge of the AI. You still have to say, here's my content, ChatGPT, take a look at my current resume. And you could upload your current resume, and you could upload the job posting, and you could say, help me write a cover letter that bridges my real-time experience to what they're looking for. That's the kind of stuff that's, I think, honest and fair to ask ChatGPT or an AI tool to do for you. Then read it. For heaven's sakes, read it and make sure it's your voice. Make sure it's true, right? Edit it.
From what you've seen so far, aren't people starting to get that, or have we still got a long way to go?
Yeah, it's a tool. It's a tool that people haven't totally figured out how to use yet. And you see it in the education system. We've got colleges and universities putting in very sophisticated screening tools themselves to make sure that anything that the students are writing in is actually, what portion of it can have AI generated data in it versus someone saying, I need a thesis on and having it written. So I think it's an excellent tool. You could even say to it, let's say something came forward and you went, okay, it's 90% right. You put your own edits in. You type an edit and then you say, let's try this again. Write me another cover letter. And let's say it's too folksy or it's too casual. You could say, could you warm up the tone of that letter? Could you make that sound, 80% more professional? And you can play with the tool that way.
So just like you do manually, you have to tweak and massage and all that several times with AI as well.
Yeah, you should, because it should be a tool that helps to enhance and optimize what you're trying to do as a real person. Another tool, obviously, online is make sure you're using something like Grammarly so that you've got error-free writing. It's a professional touch, no spelling errors. And then a really awesome tool, I'm a fan of it because I've used it in the past, is the LinkedIn Resume Builder. So if you're putting if you've got a really great LinkedIn profile, you can generate a resume off of that tool. So people might not realize that there's some tools already available to them with the content they already have posted online.
Okay, we do need to take a break here, but later on we'll be getting into things like what gets you the interview, and that should also be some pretty juicy stuff with HR Dar. Back in a sec.
Welcome back. We're just finishing up the segment on the 5 tips for making sure that you're writing a great cover letter and that you get your resume and your cover letter through the AI screening tools and you get your resume. And I wanted to give everybody an example of when things can go horribly wrong, because as an HR professional, I've made my fair share of mistakes in hiring folks. If you hire someone or a service to help you write your resume, or you use any of these AI tools that we're talking about for your cover letter, please make sure that the content is true and reflects your voice. So why do I say that? So this might resonate with some HR hiring managers that are listening today. I hired a candidate years ago for a mid-level HR leadership role. And from day one, so you go through the screening process. We had an applicant tracking system. This person made it through the tracking system. But from day one, the person who showed up for the job was not the person who wrote the resume nor did the interview. And so it was completely bizarre because they just absolutely could not do the job. And it soon became apparent that this person's references, one in general, was staged, and that they hadn't done this job before, but they'd been heavily coached on how to get the job. So at the end of the day, it was a lose-lose situation. You might ask yourself, as we did, why would you apply for a job that you've never done before? Because at the end, at some point, someone's going to ask you to do it.
Well, and they always say that actually when you send in your resume and cover letter, it's not to get you the job, it's to get you the interview, right?
Yeah.
So you have that in the next segment, what gets you the interview.
What gets you the interview. So make sure you can deliver on your application promises. When you get the interview, people often think it's about the credentials or your years of experience, and yes, it's definitely about those, but what really makes a difference is the clarity and the effort and the relevance of your application for the job. So when a recruiter sees that you've tailored your message, basically when your resume and your cover letter work together to tell a clear story about what you've done and how you can perform on the job, then that's when you're going to get the call back. I want you to remember that most applicants don't do this work. They're just on job boards clicking apply now, submit resume 1,000 times a day, and they're just hoping to get an email or a call back. That means when you do the work, you're going to immediately rise to the top 10% of candidates, because the relevance of your application is just going to be that much more clear. So in your application, tell a brief story, show results, and draw the line between your value and their need. And then the most important thing I can say is close strong, which means ask for the job. In some way, at the end of your application, ask for the job. We always say with salespeople, after they've bestowed the benefits of the products and they've told the person how they can solve their problems, that they haven't asked for the sale. So getting a job is selling yourself, so ask for that. And you can say something simple and confident like, I'd welcome the opportunity to speak further about my skills and experience and how they can contribute to your team's success. And here's the clincher. Please let me know if we can schedule an interview at your convenience. That's asking for the job, right? That's pushing a little bit through. So it's not flashy, but it shows you're professional and you're capable and you're interested and serious about working for that particular company. And many top recruiting firms like Robert Half and Korn Ferry and LinkedIn, Talent Solutions, or even Indeed, they recommend including a value summary, which you've seen at the top of resumes. It's kind of like a 2 to 3 sentence purpose statement. Your cover letter could have a contextual opener. It could reference a recent article about the company or a known challenge they're facing and how you might be able to solve that for them. And you could address potential objections up front, which would be a gap in your experience, or maybe you're changing careers and you need to build a bridge for them that says, while I haven't done this job, here's the transferable skills. Here's what I do know that will fit with your position. In today's world of online recruiting, just to wrap this up, you've got AI screening, you've got one-click resume send chaos, and your goal is to bring the human touch back into your application. So be intentional, be specific, write a great cover letter, and most importantly, don't expect or wait for the recruiter to connect the dots. They know the job best. They know their company and they know the job best, and you know your experience. So do the work for them, and that will already speak volumes about your work ethic and your genuine interest in being considered for their job, not just any job.
Well, the recruiters don't have a lot of time, so if you make it too hard for them to figure out if you're the person for them, you're probably eliminating yourself right there.
You are.
from
You're
contention.
sabotaging yourself. You're in the regrets pile.
Yeah.
And that's how you get seen, and that's how you get the interview, is by showing yourself as a willing participant in the process. So to assist our listeners, I've got a free cover letter checklist and template to guide you in creating a great cover letter that resonates with recruiters. And that's going to be available by contacting me through my website, dkstewartconsulting.com. And if you need help tailoring your resume or writing a compelling cover letter or optimizing your LinkedIn profile, because that's a great tool, let's work together. If this episode helped you, share it with a friend who's in job search mode. And as always, feel free to submit your HR questions for us to cover on a future show.
Let's have that website one more time.
Yeah, dkstewartconsulting.com.
HR Dar, thanks once again. We'll
Thanks
do
for
this
listening.
next week.
We will. Thank you.